When the topic was sent to me and I was wondering which aspect you wanted it to be on, after doing my own studies and putting my own ideas and thoughts together, I actually found out that the elements are actually the same. Whether it's government to citizens, employee to employer, it's the same. It's the same thing. Elements to building trust, consistency. What you do every time you're sending a message.
Okay.
For instance, your boss sends you to get him something, and then there's a change from that. It could be as little as that. And then every time he sends you an error and he notices you doesn't bring back change, you are being consistent in that. You are building, yes, you are building this trust already. Because when he finds out, he would. It's easy for him to find out. Think about it. He should have asked, just sent someone else. This thing, how much did you even sell it? So in building trust or in destroying trust, consistency, you need it. And then integrity. Because what you do or what you don't do, it's all dependent on your level of integrity. How you see yourself, how you want to be seen. And then in building trust, empathy is another element. Empathy just simply means how to be human, being human. And being human, it simply means that you're able to understand another person's feelings, understand their perspective. It's not all about you. You have to understand that there is you and then there is somebody else, and they ought to be understood. Their feelings are valid. And then what other element do we have for building trust? Time.
Okay.
Time is an element in building trust.
Time.
Time is a very key element in building trust. Trust, especially when trust has been broken. In rebuilding trust, time is a key element. So you don't just expect that, and because your trust has been broken before, you don't expect it to come back to you at once. Because I know somebody watching us who, amongst our viewers, would have people who say, I have trust issues, I don't trust nobody. Well, that's because the trust has been broken before. But for those set of people, I need them to understand that in building trust again, in rebuilding trust, you need time. It takes time.
It takes time.
It takes time. My question will now come from the angle where you mentioned that in a situation whereby trust has been taken for granted or misused, how can we now look at those mistakes to avoid those mistakes in common trust? Okay, I trust you so much and I decide to let you have my car. You decide to use it, but the process of using it, there were some damages. Maybe someone bashed you from the back, or you mistakenly climbed the carpet, and you did not tell me.
My opinion, there is one very simple solution to that, and it's wisdom/discretion. So there's a difference between trusting and being a simpleton. They're two very different things. So some people who think that to trust means you have to be really open and all of that, there is a well-defined line between trusting and being a simpleton. Being a simpleton there simply means being a foolish person. A simpleton is just a nice way to put it. So there's a well-defined.
I don't want to be foolish.
Yes, so there's a well-defined fence, a well-defined line. Yes. So it's either you are here or here. So understanding now, you need to understand that in trusting, that's why I say you need discretion and wisdom/wisdom, whichever one you pick, is what you need to avoid common mistakes in trust. Because with discretion, you know the extent to which you can trust person. You know what to trust who with. So there's the who, there's the what, there's even the why, there's the when, the 5 W's and 1 H comes in there. And it takes wisdom to know that I can trust you with my car, but I cannot trust my 16-year-old with my car. Yeah. I have a friend or a church member, and the way he drives, everybody knows that this guy's driving is always catastrophic. If you still give your car key to that person, you are in category simple thing. I love that category simple thing. You're really anticipating that this person is like this. If you still go ahead to do that, then you have simply not applied wisdom. So that's not you being trusting, that's you being foolish.
Being foolish.
So that's why I said there's a I don't want to say a thin line, it's a well-defined line.
Fine line.
You're either here Yes, I think that answers the question. Wisdom. You need to, and wisdom comes by learning. I have to say this, it comes by, you don't get, of course we're not born with wisdom. As you grow, you learn. So for the person who's been hurt, you have to forgive yourself and understand that wisdom doesn't come at once. That bad experience you had is something you should learn from and become wiser. It makes you wiser. So you tell yourself, okay, next time, what do I do? But if you remain in your hurt, you have not actually learned. If you learn from your mistake, learning from your mistake does not mean I won't trust anymore. If you are still in that space, trust me, you haven't picked the lesson from that mistake yet. When you pick what the actual lesson is, you now learn to trust, but now you now know how to trust.
I had a guest here that once said he has had friends for 20 years and he has made up his mind that he knows you would hurt him. So he has prepared his mind already to forgive you, because one day he knows it will definitely happen. Why is it always difficult for people to rebuild that trust once it's broken? In fact, you've seen it in marriage, in friendship, in offices, everywhere. Why is it, I'm sure you've had your own share of experience of trust, so why is it difficult?
Okay, so it hurts a lot when your trust is broken, because one of the needs of humans is safety. One of our needs, not part of the 3 basic needs, but one of the needs. Your 3 basic needs are food, clothing, shelter, but then still part of the human needs is safety. And when your trust is broken, that need is where a broken trust, that's the spot it hits, where you no longer feel safe with someone or a system. But since we're talking about someone, let me use someone. With someone, that part of you is what is injured. So that's why it hurts a lot. That, you know, when you pour all your, like, I think this person is my safe space, and then it is broken, that part of you is what is injured. But then rebuilding trust, why it's hard to rebuild. Now, trust encompasses some virtues such as faith. It takes faith, trust, love, and everything that love defines. And in everything that love defines, if you're familiar with the Bible, you can see all of that in 1 Corinthians 13. And then it takes integrity, it takes kindness, it takes truthfulness, it takes forgiveness. So those are like basic virtues that are encapsulated inside trust. So when you're talking about rebuilding trust, you've been hurt, you find it hard to trust anybody again. Somewhere in that person who is been hurt, there is unforgiveness. Yes. And in trust, you need forgiveness. I watched there's a movie, I think it's a movie I watched, where they said if you don't forgive, if you don't learn to forgive people, you'll be lonely when you grow old.
That's a deep one.
I had to learn that. It was a learning for me, I think, within the space of last year into this year. It was a learning for me, because I used to be like, I have trust issues. I naturally have trust issues. Well, first of all, nobody naturally has trust issues.
That makes you have trust issues you get.
But for the person who is finding it hard to trust, if I'm going to be honest with you, you have unforgiveness inside of you. So it's either unforgiveness for the people who have broken your trust, or unforgiveness for the system that has broken your trust, or unforgiveness for your own self.
Feeling like you gave out all that you're not supposed to. If you've not been able
to forgive yourself for a mistake you made. Remember I said sometimes when you say that your trust was broken, you were being a simpleton, you did not apply the
yes. But after you've applied the discussion.
Yes. So when sometimes people say my trust was broken, if you really want to do a root cause analysis, you'll find out that person did not apply discretion. Not every time, in some cases. But I'm saying either ways, when you find it hard to trust again, there's unforgiveness there. Just know that. And talking about virtues, forgiveness is a virtue. And now when you talk about saying I find it hard to rebuild trust, and this is not me being sympathetic with the people whose trust have been broken, forgive me, I'm not going to be sympathetic with you on this one, but I want you to look at it from this perspective, where when you say that you can't trust again yourself, are there not people that
you have hurt,
that is hurt,
that you've broken their trust?
Yes.
So
it's both ways. There is no way you will say that you have not broken anybody's trust. There's no way. It could be knowingly or unknowingly. For instance, as it stands now, I have one of my script writers that I'm still begging, just because I omitted his name. My editor omitted his name from the movie we're producing, and I'm still begging, because that was actually the agreement. I'm still begging. In fact, I'm still trying to restitute. And he was so hurt. And to me, I'm like, but I've been begging you. But somebody made me understand that people are different. Some people, the way they hold on to, because that is different. I expected you to do this.
No.
So when you let people down, that hurt is there. But then that's to say that there is nobody. I use that as an example to say that intentionally or intentionally,
you've hurt somebody.
So when you hold on to say, I can't trust anybody again, you will be lonely when you grow older. You will only when you grow.
Because nobody is going to find that space to talk.
Yes, and nobody is perfect. So in talking about that I don't know if you have that in your question, but let me just put it out there that expectations, I think if you don't know that, expectations lead to disappointment. Does that mean you should not expect? No, but manage your expectations. So that man you said he anticipated, that is a wise man. He is a very wise man. Anticipate it. When you anticipate it, when it happens, it's easier.
You just smile.
And you know, the Bible also tells us that when you don't forgive somebody else, God himself will not forgive you. Because you know, when, I don't know if you've had that experience where you offend God, and by the time he now brings your conscience to understand that thing that you did that was wrong, even you be like, look, I never knew this thing was wrong. I never knew it was a sin. You didn't know. But in his mercy, it now makes you understand that this thing you did is wrong, and then you repent. So if you are refusing to forgive, we are all humans. That's where empathy comes in. Empathy means being human. And being human is understanding that it's a two-way street. I will offend you, you will offend me. Let's be going.
Let's be going.
Remember, trust takes time. And the time factor there is that you just take it, just especially for somebody who's been hurt before. Take your baby steps, keep going gradually. It takes time, meaning a lot will happen in the space of time. You yourself, you will heal in that same time, and you will gain wisdom in that same time to know how to allocate your expectations in that same time.
Yeah, ladies, sometimes we go to certain places, maybe a bar, or we go to the supermarket, or we meet at
a gathering,
and you're trying to, like, maybe you are next behind me, and me being free, or trying to, like, hey, how are you? I like the way you say blah 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 blah. We start talking, and you're like, madam, please, can you please face your front, or I think it's your turn. It's next for you to. Some people just become so like, excuse me, so bad in doing such thing to be free. You're in the public place.
So in that regard, you're not doing something bad. You're being yourself. If that is who you are normally, you're being yourself. And if you used the scenario, so two perspectives to the answer I'm going to give. Number one, you can either choose to communicate further to that person who's been non-receptive, or number two, like the scenario you used, you're on a queue. There are very many other people there. If one person is not receptive to you, meet somebody else.
Move up.
Then the other angle where you can communicate, that's for those who want to go the extra mile, like you are determined you must get this person. You can communicate. You can just tell the person that I'm trying to talk to you, I'm trying to make friends with you, and this, and that's what I'm trying to do. But if you're not open to it, it's fine. Just let them know. Sometimes when you say that to the person, it lets them bring down it reassures them, and they can now let down their walls, open their gates, and say, okay, I'm sorry about that. It's all part of empathy when you are able to. That's where communication comes in. Communication there is letting the person know that I'm not trying to disturb. Sorry, I feel like I bothered you, but I just wanted to have a conversation with you. So sometimes you don't even know what that person might be going through.
That's more reason why some people will want to like.
Yeah. So when you say that,
not smiling.
Sometimes that person's mind may not even be there. So when you say that, it lets them like, okay, come back home. Yeah, somebody's talking to them like, oh, I'm sorry, my mind wasn't there.
Because everybody is on the high horse. These days.
But on the other hand, if the person is still not receptive, there are very many other people. Move on. So, a few words. Building and maintaining trust requires a level of vulnerability, and vulnerability needs you to be open. It needs you you are being open with the mindset that this thing could be used against you, but still you have to be open. And you should also understand that people will be humans. I have a friend and I asked her once, like, how do you get to still do this? You still talk to this person, and she just said, she just realized that people will be humans. And then I asked myself, what are humans? Referring to the Bible again, God himself said, the heart of man is desperately wicked. That statement busts my head every single time I think about it. The person who made man came back, looked at man and said, the heart of man is desperately wicked. So when my friend says people will be humans, it simply means anticipate. Expectations lead to disappointment. So, but when you anticipate that this thing could go south, it could go wrong, it helps you prepare and brace yourself. And to the person who's been hurt and is locked in, not willing to come out of their shell, you need to understand that if you don't trust enough, it was Frank Crane who said, if you don't trust enough, you live in torment. It's like being in a psychological cage. That's how it is. So if you want to come out of that cage, then you're going to have to learn to trust. But in learning to trust, remember, it takes time. So don't rush yourself. Heal. Take your baby steps. Start from the most basic of things, and learn to trust again. Because if you want to go far in life, you need people. And to work with those people, can two work together unless they agree? No. And agreeing there is trusting each other that, okay, we'll go this distance together, we'll be able to do this and this together and not harm each other. That's the agreeing, that's trust. So you need to understand that if you want to cover more grounds, if you want to do more with your life, unless you're satisfied with not doing much with your life, that's fine. But if you want to be able to do much with your life, then you're going to have to learn to gradually trust people by taking baby steps.